Shalom Chavrim, I'm Stephen Benoon. You're watching Israeli News Live. We have got an interesting article that came out today by Breaking Israel News. Been exclusive. Sanhedrin asked Putin and Trump to build the third temple in Jerusalem. Now, it sounds like a great thing, you know, and both of these men, you know, I have seen a positive light in both of them, but I've also seen things that have concerned me, and especially more recently, I've seen things about President Putin that really makes me wonder if he is not working with the New World Order. I think for a while he went against it. There's been a major struggle in the New World Order. There's been a power struggle amongst the elite. Who's going to get what, etc. We've been exposing that, sharing that with you. So, you know, those that think, oh, you love Putin. I've always told you, I'm here to tell you the truth. I'm not here to tickle your ears and make you feel all good about everything. I'm here to tell you the truth because I'm concerned about human beings' souls and what you believe, and not just to believe anything. The same goes with Donald Trump. I'm not 100% behind Donald Trump on everything that he does. I do like the fact that these two men could bring about peace, and the very interesting fact that Donald Trump stated during his electioneering that he would recognize Crimea that belongs to Russia. Well, that's clearly a New World Order issue as well. Some of you may not realize that, but like I said recently, over this 10 regions of the earth, the Obama administration had been fighting to take everything from Putin. Back in 1973, he was going to get Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, as well as Belarus, which they're already friends, so that's not a problem. But Ukraine and Serbia and right on down. Okay, but he lost that in 2006. That kind of irritated Russia for losing all of that, and they only left him with Ukraine and, of course, Crimea. Then the coup came. But Russia quickly took a hold of Crimea, was not going to let Crimea go. The coup came where the United States CIA overthrew Yanukovych, which was working with Russia. Why? Because it was part of the New World Order area that he's supposed to get. That all got blown up completely out of the water. So it has really made Russia angry, and now NATO is on Russia's doorstep to enforce that they get Ukraine. Not only that, but they're wanting to take St. Peter's and Moscow as well and make that part of that European Union prize that they have there. But on the other hand, Donald Trump, a part of another elite, no doubt, clearly wants to get peace with Putin, and he wants to settle some things down. While the Pope Francis in the background is just kind of not saying a whole lot about things that are going on publicly. But I do hear there's been a secret meeting between the Pope and Donald Trump where they met privately in his apartment. Can't say that that's true. I don't really have a way to authenticate that. It has been put out in, I think it's the Daily Beast, but I don't even know if the Daily Beast is really considered a good source to begin with. So I have not pushed that. And without being able to really go into that, I don't know what to say about it. Now, let me remind you guys, you know, Donald Trump here was prayed for a little while back. If you notice, there's Jews in there as well, but it's also Kenneth Copeland is there, Paula White and others that were there to pray for Donald Trump when he began his campaign. Thought that was very interesting. It's about the only group that came in behind him. But remember though, Kenneth Copeland, pictured right here with Pope Francis, I'm a little cautious there because they're what? They're working to bring about all the one world religion, part of the New World Order. Remember the encyclical the Pope did? Pastor D actually spoke about or released that publicly before the Pope got to release it. That got him in a lot of trouble with the British, and now our brother is sitting in jail all because he spoke out against the Catholic Church. Which brings me to another issue with Donald Trump that's kind of really concerned me about things that are going on, and I'm going to share that with you as well. That's right here in this meeting here. Now, Donald Trump said something that just really kind of bugged me. And that is when you go over here, and I've already said this to you guys a couple of weeks ago, I just didn't show you the video at that time, but go to the 22 mark, okay? And this is where it really kind of begins. You get right there to that 22 mark there. And am I at it? No, I'm at the 20 mark, sorry. And let me just take you right here. I want you to see what Donald Trump has to say here.
Net. Cardinal told me that's net, Donald, remember.
Not that. Here we go.
We can also agree on the need to stand up to anti-Catholic bias, to defend religious liberty, and to create...
All right, to stand up against anti-Catholic bias. What is that about? But to stand up for religious liberty? Clearly, that has just a little bit of a hint of working with the Catholic Church for a one world religion. Stand up against anti-Catholic bias. I'm not against Catholics, period. I wouldn't even be against the Pope if it wasn't that he is trying to bring about his one world religion for a new world order, just like many of the other world leaders. And that's what I'm trying to get people to understand. Now, it gets a little bit worse. He also speaks about the new world order in this particular issue here, right around the 2255 mark there. Let me just get it right there in the right spot.
What we're witnessing today. We've got to be very strong, very, very smart, and we've got to come together, not only as a nation, but as a world community.
World community. Coming together as a world community. There again, you're looking at a new world order right there. Clear language, and that's what I've been catching with Putin as I begin to look back at what things were going on. And the one other issue that I wanted to remind you of, and this here was where he speaks about the Pope, or Donald Trump, getting into a tiff with the Pope. All right? And this is Al, I can't think of Al's last name there, but Al, I think it's Al Franken,
Got in a very public tiff with the Pope last year. I know you discussed that with the Cardinal last week, and it should be easy to mend that relationship.
Easy to mend the relationship.
Donald and Pope Francis have so much in common. For instance, they lead lives of humility. So for this evening, all is forgiven. It is now my privilege.
Okay, see? So they got into a public tiff, and they did, and that's what made it look like that Donald Trump was not on the Pope's side. It looked good publicly. Pope Francis brought into question those that would be willing to build a wall were not Christians. Donald jumped back at him real quick like. That actually made me feel good about Donald Trump as well. I figured, well, maybe he's more like JFK, more like John F. Kennedy, who was not a Catholic puppet, even though it clearly seemed that he acted, that John F. Kennedy, when he went into office, you figured that being a Catholic, he would do exactly what the Pope said. But Kennedy went in there to undermine the entire Illuminati establishment and the New World Order, that type of New World Order back then. He totally unraveled it, and he was breaking the backbone of the Jesuit influence in Washington, and that's why they killed him. I had begun to look at Donald Trump. Maybe he was the same kind of guy. And then one of my inside friends sends me a message. And I got to look this up so I can prove it as well. I'd like to be able to back it up. There is a man that he knew of from the 80s that was told, one day you'll have a president that speaks about building a wall on the southern border of the United States. When that happens, he said, you will know the New World Order is in place and ready to get going. So I cannot help but wonder what's going on, especially when it comes to the building of the third temple. I've told you many times, when it comes to building the third temple, if it was truly for the Jewish people, if it was truly for the righteous way that God would have it, a house of prayer for all nations, as God says in Isaiah, where he says, I'm sick and tired of your blood sacrifices and everything. He says, I desire mercy. See? More than burnt offering. He wanted them to care about the widows, care about the poor. That's what God cares about. And if they built the temple with that in mind, it would be wonderful. But I am so concerned they're going to build it for the Pope of Rome or for the Antichrist, however you want to put it. Pope of Rome being the Antichrist, etc. Whichever way that falls in. I leave that open for people with different views on that. All right? But I'm very concerned about this. It is... I don't know what to say about it. I really don't. Not at this point here. I really don't. But like I said, I wanted to share again with you the concerns I've had. I intentionally held back before the election. I'd already said things to you already about my concerns with Donald Trump. Many people got angry over that. So I figured, okay, let the people, I don't want to influence, let the people choose how they would prefer to choose on whatever candidate they wanted. I already knew that Hillary was an insane choice. I don't care what anybody thinks. It was just an insane choice. That is World War III, guaranteed. From the way she was talking in her rhetoric. Donald Trump, again, like I said, no, we don't have to worry about war. That's true. But I'm afraid many Christians are going to be duped when it comes to what's going to happen. I'm Stephen Ben-Nun. You're watching Israeli News Live. Shalom.